Why are some chase cards more valuable than others? Why did these cards rise above the rest? Is it because of the Pokemon, the artists who drew them, population report, or dare I say market manipulation? On episode 5 of Collector's Dream, let's have a chat about the most expensive card of the modern era. Hello everybody, welcome back to episode 5 of Collector's Dream YouTube channel, and hope you guys are all doing well. Today it's just going to be sort of like a card or a slab admiration video, because I feel like quite often when you watch online videos, a lot of the situation is people are talking about the latest art, and they don't really, even for myself, we don't really have a lot of time to go back and just kind of admire on our collection and what we have. So I thought today will be a cool video just to kind of talk about how did we get here and how come some of the slabs they rose to the top and they became the chase card and the Grail card of each era. I'm not going to go back too far. Like, I think having XY is a good starting point. And the thing with XY is that there are so many unique and beautiful cards from that era that it is hard to pinpoint which is the most expensive and worthy to talk about, because just talking about all the Poncho Pikachus, all the Mario and Luigi cards will take an entire video. So I don't want to delve too deeply in the XY era, and maybe we can start talking more from the Sun and Moon era and onward. So Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, and then now currently in the Scarlet and Violet. So joining me today in this video is the big boys and the big sister, Latios and Latios GX. It's a beautiful card in PSA 10 condition, and wow, this card, when I was starting out in the hobby, rejoining the hobby in 2022, I was talking to my friend, and we both really love this card, and we were just watching this card kind of go on this atmospheric rise to the point where now I need to check the latest eBay sold price, but I think it's hitting around $3,000 to $3,500 in PSA 10 conditions. And at the time, my friend Johnny and we just kept on joking around saying that, hey, why don't we just get a lot of these slabs, like it's a banging artwork, you can't go wrong with the heart shape, the design is beautiful. I have the card on screen on my monitor. I'm just looking at the color usage and the bright shining sunset at the background. It's just hard to go wrong with a card like that. And can we sort of pick up some trends through this video discussion to see and project what will be a very worthy card in the future or in the present generation. And at the end of the video, I do want to reveal my personal pick on what I think will be the sort of like the sleeper card right now that people are starting to pay some attention to it, but it's still not at a crazy price yet. And to give you some idea, some reference, when this card when I was looking at purchasing it, this card was at $800 for a PSA 10 condition. And obviously my friend Johnny and we didn't jump on it, and we're still hitting ourselves in the back saying, oh, why didn't we buy it? I got this slab through a trade last year, and I got a pretty sweet deal giving some other PSA 10 slabs. Is a multiple card trade to get this card, and then I didn't pay nearly as much as the current market price of $3,500 for it, maybe half that amount. So I'm really grateful that I have this card in my possession right now. And yeah, so at the end of the video, I'll reveal what I think will be a good card to invest in, or just to have in your arsenal in general near the end of the video. So let's get started on the Sun and Moon era. We talked about this card already, and I believe one of the most important factor on determining which card will rise to the top is the Pokemon itself. So if you have a card that have Pikachu, Charizard, pseudo legendaries, Gengar, the evolutions, and Mewtwo and Rayquaza, those cards are going to do pretty well, because the Pokemon Company, they spend a lot of resources and they spend a lot of time discussing with the artists on exactly how they want to portray these Pokemon, and then they go through many hundreds of revisions until Pokemon Company is absolutely happy with the artwork. So these things, they're no accidents, you know. They go through many multiple drafts to get to where they're at today. And I believe that for a card to stand out and rise to the top, the cream of the crop, there has to be a wow factor instantly when you see the card. Your eyeballs are drawn to the card, and it just pops to you. If you stand in a car show, next time pay attention. If you have like 20-30 slaps on display, where are your eyeballs going to? Which card draws your attention right away? Those cards might be the next big thing, and then if you have a chance to get them before everybody else jumps in, you're gonna be an early adopter and you're gonna do very well. Sun and Moon, we've covered Latios and Latias. Now we're gonna move up to the Black Cat, the Umbreon VMAX. Look at that, PSA 10 condition, and yeah, this card needs no introduction. I mean, even a raw copy now is going for $1,400, $1,500, and just look at it. Like, I'm gonna have a bigger display so you can, fill yourself in with all its glory. But the texturized card, it's beautiful. The Japanese card actually over there have an even better texturing. The Japanese print have a unique texturing, like I would say, technology compared to English, and the English just cannot replicate that sort of printing technology yet. I would love to see the Pokemon Company do their English cards as nice as the Japanese card, and at certain points the Japanese Umbreon was going for $4,500, $5,000. It was like on par with Poncho Pikachus and even the Mario Pikachus, but now it's fallen down and kind of at equality to the English. So yeah, like if you're simply going for the print quality, the ultimate display, Japanese Umbreon is a no-brainer. It just smacks the English around. But I have both and I love them both equally, because with the English you can kind of read the moveset and you can like the OGs, we love the English, yeah. But the Japanese, there's some really good exclusive, and they have impeccable print condition. So yeah, like talking more about the Umbreon VMAX, I mean, what more can you say? It's a Umbreon, it's VMAX card, and it's beautiful. It's got the moon, and everything that you look at it is just a really cool card. And this has transcended the Pokemon hobby to where other sports collectibles collectors, they also love this card and they do want it. So why is it that the case? But I would say, like, this card is very appealing to people of all ages. Kids will find it adorable with the kitty. Non-Pokemon fans will just admire the beautiful holographic surface condition, and then it just everything about it, it's a home run to me. I mean, this card, it's expensive for a reason, and another factor is it's very hard to pull. I have tried over 600 packs of Evolving Skies. With this year, I think I've done 250 packs at $15-$20 a pop, and I still haven't pulled this yet. So the money that I spent on opening raw packs is enough to get maybe like 2 Umbreon PSA 10s. I'm not even joking. And which is why I personally believe that the Evolving Sky set is still going to do well very far into the future, because people are still chasing this card, and live streamers and PokeTubers are just ripping them daily, and then as they rip, it depletes the seal products, right? So it drives up the demand while depleting supply. So this is like the ultimate card from the Sword and Shield era. So yep, let's move on to the next one. Now we're talking about Scarlet and Violet, and we're well into this generation, and some cards have really popped up and they are rising to the top. With that being said, we have the English 151 Charizard, which is the English counterpart of this card right here. Let's see if I can get it into focus. Yeah, there we go. And then like the art is just really cool. You know, you have a Charizard flying, flying up to the sky, and it forms a beautiful 3-card collage with Charmeleon and Charmander. So like the artist put in a lot of nice attention to creating a beautiful art piece with 3 cards, and those usually tend to do very, very well. The other one that is ranked at the top right now is the Surging Sparks Pikachu. I managed to pull it and grade it in a PSA 10, but yeah, right now I don't have it on display because it was sold at the last card show, so I sold my only copy of the PSA 10. And yeah, I look forward to buying it again because it's a really beautiful card. I have it on display right here, and the reason there's a big demand is because A is Pikachu, B is very colorful, 3 I've heard from videos, like, you know, some people have tried cases and cases and they cannot pull it, but also I've seen people open like 1,000 packs and they pull 3, so it really depends on your luck. But this card, the card condition is not bad. It's not as horrendous as some other sets, so it's not a very difficult card to grade, but it's just like a difficult card to pull. And then once you pull it, the rainbow border really adds to the overall card aesthetic. And there, I believe, yeah, it is deserving of the top valuable card in the SV era right now. But some other runner-ups will be the, like I say, the English Charizard, the Twilight Masquerade Greninja, and then now we are, you know, highly anticipating the Prismatic Evolutions Sunbreon, as my buddy calls it, with the Terrestrial Moonbreon coming out. So that might dethrone the Pikachu. Actually, I'm gonna put in, I'm gonna put in money and say that it is gonna dethrone the Pikachu, at least, you know, initially. Will we see price of, you know, $3,000, $4,000 when it hits the market in PSA 10? I think we will. And then once it settles, let's see how it does. But I do feel like that Sunbreon artwork is very, very beautiful, and I cannot wait to one day add it to my personal collection. Now, moving to the other factors of why these cards rose to the top. Pull rate is a big determining factor, like I talked about in for the Evolving Skies Umbreon, and the grading difficulty. So grading difficulty with, you know, PSA right now, I can think of a great example to use is the Magikarp from Paldea Evolve. You know, when you have like a 20% chance of getting a PSA 10, it's just gonna drive the card up to, you know, silly prices. Where right now, I think I've seen transactions of like $1,400 US, and then now it's hovering at maybe 1,200. So just the grading difficulty can, by that factor, can drive it up. And the Magikarp is a very nice art rare with a hidden Gyarados on the top right corner. And yeah, it's just a really beautiful card. But how can we explain the English PSA 10 costing 13 times the Japanese PSA 10? They're the same card, but it's because it's really, really hard to grade, and also the random factor on pulling the Magikarp versus the Japanese counterpart. And the demand for the card is also a big factor. I'm going to brush on the topic of the Vango Pikachu. We used to think that population matters. Like I say, this card is sub 2,000, maybe 1,500 worldwide for PSA 10. The Vango Pikachu is PSA 10 over 31,000, I believe, last I checked. The Umbreon is over 16,000 by now in PSA 10. So people in the past 2 years or so will say that the pop report matters, you know, like how can a card be worth so much when there's over 10,000 copies of it in PSA 10 form? But now the counter argument is that the hobby is getting so big and so popular that a 5-figure population report doesn't really mean anything. Like look at the Vango Pikachu. A few months ago, it was transacting at $300, $400, and now it's hitting up to 600. Is a bubble coming? Perhaps. But just looking at the Pikachu card, it is a really, really beautiful card, hard to grade, and also lots of counterfeit on the market. So some people, they just don't want to bother with, you know, messing up with raw cards and messing with, you know, unknown sellers. They just trust the slabs. They just trust the card when it's encapsulated in the slab. So maybe that's another reason why the price just continues to go up. It should stabilize for a little bit, dip, perhaps even dip. But in the long run, we're looking at it charging to $1,000 for the Van Gogh Pikachu. I don't have any on display right now, but yeah, I do have some Van Goghs coming in the next month or so, and maybe, yeah, I'll have it on display later on once it arrives. The last, the 5 things that I believe can justify a card rising to the top, in summary, is the Pokemon itself, the art design, having a cohesive and beautiful design such as these 2 slabs, the pull rate / grading difficulty that we talked about in the Magikarp Paldea Evolve, and the 4th is the demand for the card. When the demand is high enough, the population report, you just throw that out the window. It doesn't really matter. The 5th point is the lore of the card also matters. So when there's an interesting lore, there's a history behind the card. Basically, people want things that money just cannot buy. If you can use money and get the card, it is not as desirable. And another analogy would be the first couple of sets of Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon Company tweaked the pull rates and made things easier to pull. And look at those chase cards. They're not really worth much because everybody was pulling them left and right. But then if you need to do something, like maybe attend the Van Gogh Museum to get a Van Gogh Pikachu, you need to do a treasure hunt. Or, back then when the Pokemon hobby was not as hype, and then you flew to Japan, and then you can pick up the Pikachu, Munch Pikachu and the Munch Mimikyu in person, there's some lore to that, there's some history to that. And then will inherently give the card more value, more historic value to the card. And another one that's really nice is the 2016 XY promo Charizard. That card, I really, really like the artwork as well. And that ties into the Brilliant Stars Charizard V. And those cards, when paired together, it makes for a beautiful, beautiful scene. And yeah, like looking at the time, I'm going to wrap up this video and give you guys my personal take on what's going to be a very, very desirable card in the near future. And it's going to be the Surging Sparks Milotic EX. I think Milotic EX ticks all the box for it to become a very valuable card. In PSA 10 form, nowadays it's selling for $500-600 US. I think there's room for growth, and the reason being is because it ticks a lot of the boxes that I've mentioned. It has a vertical collage buildup with the Phoebus, the non-evolved form of Milotic, and then it has Milotic, so it forms a beautiful picture. Some people, they like it, they will buy both. And then Milotic is a beautiful Pokemon. It's a pseudo-legendary in the game, and it doesn't really need any introduction if you're an OG player. I remember when I was playing the Nintendo DS or the Game Boy Advance. It started on Game Boy Advance. When I was playing that, I had the backlight on and I was in my bed, just trying to fish for the Phoebus. And there's like thousands of tiles on that river, and then only like 4 or 8 tiles contain the Phoebus. And then I just went on the swimming Pokemon, and every tile you just try, and then I was in like maybe elementary school or high school, I can't really remember now, but then when I got that Phoebus, it was just, it sticks to me, and then I become very fond of that Pokemon. So whenever there's a Phoebus, I'll be like, it'll catch my attention. And then Milotic is a beautiful evolution. It tells a beautiful story of an ugly fish being Phoebus, and then now it turns into this beautiful, one of the most beautiful Pokemon in the entire Pokédex. So my take is that if you guys have the means, you can consider getting a PSA 10. If not, you might have to pull it from Surging Sparks and hope that the condition is good enough for it to become a PSA 10. But on that note, I think we are now hitting a good time to wrap up this episode. If you liked it and you enjoy the content, please comment, like, and subscribe to Collector Stream TCG. And then I will always read the comments and try to respond and give you guys my take on the hobby. And if you have any ideas on what you want to listen to, please leave it in the comment section, and then I'll do my best to cater to the audience feedback. And I hope that you guys enjoy episode 5, and I will have episode 6 coming out very soon. Talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.